Random House Audio presents Emotional Freedom. Liberate yourself from negative emotions and transform your life. Written and read by Judith Orloff, M.D.
I invite you on a remarkable journey where you can embrace more happiness, peace, and mastery over negativity than you may have ever known. You possess the ability to achieve such emotional freedom. It's closer than you might think. No matter how stressed your life is currently, the time for positive change is now. Our society is in the midst of an emotional meltdown. People are restless, volatile, our temper's about to blow. In the past year, Prozac was prescribed for over 30 million people. Domestic violence occurs in 1 out of 6 households. 50% of drivers who are cut off respond with horn honking, yelling, obscene gestures, or even road rage. Half of our marriages end in divorce. None of this is how we want life to be. Our pressure cooker society pushes us to our emotional limits. We deserve relief from getting crucified by daily stresses. We deserve to be happier, to be more comfortable in our own skins, to have nurturing relationships. This book empowers you to attain this high quality of life and to handle stress artfully. I'm excited to present practical new tools for mastering your emotions because conventional coping mechanisms just aren't sufficient in our hypertense world. It's lunacy to put up with being chronically anxious, fatigued, or depressed, as so many of us have. I rebel against that cheerless status quo and hope you will too. Emotional freedom offers the answer to reclaiming your happiness and heart. What is emotional freedom? It means increasing your ability to love by cultivating positive emotions and being able to compassionately witness and transform negative ones, whether they're yours or another's. This fundamental living skill liberates you from fear and lets you navigate adversity without going on the attack, losing your cool, or being derailed by it. The result? With true emotional freedom, you can choose to react constructively rather than relinquishing your command of the situation whenever your buttons get pushed, as most people do. This lets you communicate more successfully and gain more confidence in yourself and empathy for others. Then you own the moment, no matter whom or what you're facing. I'm compelled to write this book because as a board-certified psychiatrist in private practice and as an assistant clinical professor at the University of California, Los Angeles, UCLA, I work in a mainstream medical system where emotions are only partially understood. Even today, they don't receive the total respect that they warrant. All too often, doctors ignore scientific data clearly linking emotions and health. During my psychiatric training at UCLA, I was the chief resident of the Affective Disorders Clinic. We treated emotional disorders, including depression and anxiety, as biochemical imbalances requiring medication. I'd meet with patients for 15 minutes every few weeks, write a prescription, then send them home. Though I never saw medications as the whole solutions to their problems, despite the zeal of some of my colleagues, I did watch many patients experience at least partial symptom relief, an undeniable blessing and alleviation of suffering. However, in my subsequent 2 decades of medical practice, I've learned that emotional freedom is rarely just about removing a symptom. It involves much, much more. Over years of working with patients and seminar participants, I've seen that emotional freedom comes from many sources, mainstream and beyond. This book gives me the opportunity to wed my fondest loves, traditional medicine, intuition, and energy, a mystical yet practical marriage. I've coined the term energy psychiatry to describe a new kind of psychotherapy I'm pioneering that synthesizes these multiple forms of knowledge. I'll explain how I use each of them to help my patients find emotional freedom so you can find it too. The intellect, stunningly incisive as it may be, has restricted vision when it comes to emotions. This is why bringing intuitive awareness to the feeling realm is so liberating. It pushes beyond the limits of linear understanding. Intuition is a potent wisdom not mediated by the linear mind, a practical, smart decision-making aid. Intuition can be a hunch, a dream, a knowing, specific guidance, or a warning of danger. During troubled times, intuition is a voice in the wilderness to get you through. And when things are good, it'll help them stay that way. Contrary to what you might suppose, intuition is the antithesis of woo-woo. It can actually be perceived physically as a gut feeling. Cutting-edge science associates this with a separate brain in the gut called the enteric nervous system, a network of neurons that learn and store information. Interestingly, Harvard researchers have linked the overall capacity for intuition to the basal ganglia, a part of the brain that informs us something's not right and we'd better act on it. Emotions also have an intuitive language that silently begs to be decoded in our bodies, subtle energies that move through us that can be sensed. These are what Chinese medicine calls qi, our vital life force, a growing area of scientific study. We feel emotions internally, while their energy expands beyond our bodies, affecting the world we touch, determining our affinities. Similarly, other people's emotional energy impacts us. Today, I'm a woman who travels many worlds. My approach to emotional freedom utilizes the best of traditional and non-traditional realms to map the territory of the heart. In this book, I'll discuss the 4 major components of emotions that shape your health and mood: biology, subtle energy, psychology, and spirituality. Why do I emphasize spirituality? I want to acknowledge that there's a heightened sense of mystery to emotions. Albert Einstein said, "The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. It is the fundamental emotion which stands at the cradle of true art and true science." To tap this, we must appreciate that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. It's impossible to grasp how we tick emotionally without a cosmic perspective. Everything about us, including our biology, is an expression of the divine. Seeing emotions as a training ground for the soul frames every victory over fear, anxiety, and resentment as a way to develop your spiritual muscles and be better able to love and cultivate goodness. Anything that keeps you from your light distances your spiritual connection too. I'm unrelentingly dedicated to helping my patients and you combat the emotional forces of darkness that may cause suffering. This has to be done. We all have suffering. When unaddressed, it ends up hurting others and ourselves. I've seen too frequently how the ravages of suffering can deform people. I'll teach you how to dissipate negativity so suffering can be lifted and you can be more loving. Goodness doesn't shy away from the dark, but achieving emotional freedom doesn't mean becoming bland, numbing our feelings, or spewing them indiscriminately towards others. It entails striving to develop everything that is positive within us, as well as being accountable for our full spectrum of emotions, mastering them, and realizing we're so much larger than they are. I'm also compelled to write this book as a testament to my own progress on the path towards emotional freedom. I come from a lineage of powerful, caring women who, despite their accomplishments, often grappled with fears of inadequacy that kept them from reveling in their own magnificence. My mother and my aunt, for instance, as very young physicians in Philadelphia during World War II, staffed an inner-city emergency room. And my grandmother was a flamboyant seer who'd heal her neighbors with her hands during the lean years of the Great Depression. These wonderfully talented and complex women were my role models. For better or for worse, I've shared both their strengths and their apprehensions on my path to self-realization. I learned much about the consequences of emotions from my mother. At 70, with a thriving Beverly Hills practice in family medicine, her credentials in order, she nonetheless chose to take her national board exams to prove she was as competent as doctors fresh out of medical school. Everybody, including my father, also a physician.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?